family members and friends, dear members of the faculty, and of the entire Harvard School of Public Health community. It gives me great joy to be here today, together with your family and friends, to accompany you through this rite of passage from student to public health professional. The graduating class of 2011 is comprised of 478 accomplished individuals upon whom President Drew Faust has conferred an impressive array of degrees: 13 doctors of philosophy, 2 doctors of public health, 57 doctors of science, 242 masters of public health, 151 masters of science, and 13 masters of arts. I am impressed by the size and diversity of our graduating class of 2011 and how it compares with the Harvard School of Public Health class of 1965, of which today commencement speaker Gro Harlem Brundtland was a member. Back then, the class was 7 times smaller than today's, with 72 members. Only 13 of them, a mere 18%, were women. If someone doubts that progress is possible, let me tell you that today, 61% of our graduates are women. The future of public health is assured. Some things at HSPH have not changed nearly so much. Already in 1965, our school was an intensely global school. 25% of gross class came from outside the United States. That has now grown to 37%. You collectively hail from 60 different countries, up significantly from the 16 nations represented in the class of 1965. The 60 national flags displayed along this tent are here to signal the amazing global scope of our school. In addition, our US graduates today come from 31 states, plus the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. As I look out at you all today, I am reminded of what Albert Einstein once said, and I quote, "Only one who devotes himself or herself to a cause with his or her whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person." End of quote. You came to Harvard School of Public Health because you wanted to devote yourself to a cause and to master some area of public health that you believe will better equip you to improve the health of people in Boston or Los Angeles, in Albania or Jordan, Nigeria or Thailand. The process of mastering your chosen field has demanded your all. But for us here as your teachers, our goal is not only to help you master your chosen field. Our goal is also to help you become leaders who can use that mastery to make transformative improvements in the public's health. The school has a strong tradition in leadership development. 6 of the last 10 directors of the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention were HSPH graduates, as are the current ministers of health in several nations, including Indonesia and Afghanistan, both, by the way, outstanding women. For us, the process of developing leaders begins with the recruitment of our own faculty. We select professors who are leaders in their chosen fields already, along with junior faculty whose innovative early work is attracting significant attention from their colleagues. As a result, on a day-to-day basis, HSPH students routinely meet and talk with faculty who are outstanding leaders in public health. HSPH faculty lead by pushing forward our understanding of how we can face the major health challenges of our times, whether it's the unfinished agenda of infectious diseases, undernutrition and maternal mortality, or the emerging problems represented by non-communicable diseases and injury, along with their associated risk factors like obesity and smoking. They generate complex models that allow us to anticipate global threats like pandemics or environmental shifts. They identify unhealthy foods in our diets and work with public officials to get them removed from restaurants and labeled prominently on product packaging. They develop new biostatistical methods that will make it possible to analyze vast quantities of data and thereby take advantage of the life sciences revolution. They work with state and national governments in the US and around the world to develop better ways to deliver high-quality healthcare to more people at affordable cost. To build on this foundation of academic leadership, we have begun a systematic effort to expand the presence at the school of leaders from other realms and to support efforts by our faculty to extend their global impact. With these twin goals in mind, we established a new division of policy translation and leadership development. The division is improving our ability to take knowledge that has already been created in research universities like ours and get it into the hands of what I call the 3 Ps: the public, the practitioners, and the policymakers. The other side of the translation coin is the work of the division to ensure that our faculty and you, our students, have more opportunities to interact with national and global leaders, tackling immense challenges that will affect people's health, so that we learn from these individuals and they learn from us. This year, we brought into our school a broad group of leaders for you to meet and talk with, including many who work in fields not directly related in a classic way to public health, but whose decisions certainly have the power to influence the public's health in a significant way. Through the new program called Voices from the Field and the new HSPH Forum, many of you were able to meet with and ask questions of people like David Gergen, who has served as an advisor to 4 US presidents, New Mexico Governor and former UN Ambassador and US Energy Secretary Bill Richardson, global philanthropist Ted Turner, Larry Summers in his role as main economic advisors to President Obama in the midst of the financial crisis, and our own commencement speaker, Gro Brundtland, who just 2 days ago shared her insights on how a leader makes decisions of immense consequence. You also had the opportunity to hear from former ABC News anchor Charlie Gibson about how a public health message can make its way onto the nightly news. US Attorney General Eric Holder talked with you about what he sees as the most important forces to be addressed if we are ever to end the cycle of youth violence. And Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick came to our school to talk to all of us about what he believes is the future of near universal health insurance in Massachusetts and in the rest of the US. In presenting you with your degrees today, my wish is that some of you will go on to emulate the Harvard School of Public Health faculty, leaders, and mentors you worked with on a day-to-day basis while you were at the school. Others of you, I hope, will become like these leaders that the division has brought to the school this year, serving as a trusted advisor to a president, or perhaps even a president or prime minister yourselves. Today's graduation speaker, Gro Harlem Brundtland, embodies the principles and practice of leadership. In 1965, however, she was sitting at a graduation ceremony much like this one. I wonder what she was thinking that day. Did she believe she would one day be the first woman and youngest prime minister of Norway? Did she believe she would one day have enormous sway over people's health globally as Director General of the World Health Organization? Did she realize that one of her classmates, George Ademola, would become a high-ranking medical advisor in the Federal Public Health Service in Lagos? Or that another, Royce Moser, would lead occupational and environmental health research efforts for the Air Force and become president of our alumni society one day? Or that yet another classmate, Bill Foege, was beginning to formulate a plan inspired by his debates with fellow students here at HSPH that ultimately led to the eradication of smallpox. I suspect Gro and her classmates were not thinking on graduation day about the future accomplishments they might achieve. Until this very moment, I suspect these kinds of musings may have not been on your minds either. But they are in my mind, and in the minds of many of the faculty with whom you have worked during your career here. Each of you, as you leave this place, will invest your careers in one or more portions of what I like to call the circle of knowledge. Many of you will go on to universities or research institutions, becoming a part of this circle by creating new knowledge and recreating that knowledge in the students with whom you will work. Some of you will become heads of academic departments and major research programs. Others of you will become part of this circle of knowledge by translating knowledge into new technologies, or perhaps using enlightened public health knowledge to implement programs and policies at heads of state or city departments of health, ministers of health, or leaders of non-governmental organizations around the globe. Some of you will find your way into the media, translating health knowledge in ways that help the public adopt healthier behaviors. Others of you may even become elected public officials, like Rob Brundtland, with the ability and the authority to influence health in far-ranging ways. It is my hope that your time here has helped you to understand that whatever leadership role you may find yourself occupying in the years ahead, you will constantly need new knowledge to be effective. 2 years from now, in 2013, we will be celebrating the centennial of the longest continuously operating educational program in public health at an American university, the Harvard-MIT School for Health Officers, the direct precursor of our school. For the past nearly 100 years, we have made fundamental contributions to improving the public's health. These discoveries and improvements are an important legacy that future Harvard School of Public Health provides, that Harvard School of Public Health provides to future generations. But perhaps our most important legacy is educating outstanding students like you. You are all full of immense talent and accomplishment. At this moment, you may also be brimming with trepidation. Rightly so. You are on the cusp of a new beginning. I have no doubt that you are destined to do great things, just like Gru Brundtland and her classmates have done. I am certain that everyone gathered here today shares in your excitement about the new beginnings ahead for each of you. We place in your minds and in your hearts our hopes for a better future in health around the globe. Congratulations. Let me now introduce our student speaker. Lakshmi Nayana Butakuru is a physician from Sydney, Australia, who is currently completing her training in anesthetics. She is graduating today with a master's in public health, concentrated in health policy and management. Nayana is a Robert G. Menzies Scholar, an award made jointly by the Harvard Club of Australia, the Australian National University, and the Sir Robert Menzies Memorial Foundation on the basis of an individual's potential for making a significant contribution to Australia and their intellectual ability, leadership qualities, and breadth of vision. Before coming to Boston, Nayana had previously worked as a policy officer for the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. This experience inspired her, in part, to look to policy development as a means of societal change. Nayana has worked widely in remote and indigenous communities around Australia. She edited her medical school's magazine, advocated for the interests of junior doctors, and worked to raise awareness of developing world health issues. While at Harvard, Nayana has been selected to participate in the Harvard Square to Oval Office program at the Kennedy School. The goal of this program is to fill the political pipeline with women in order to achieve a more equal gender balance among elected representatives in government. Additionally, she has been an elected representative on the HSPH Student Government and also the Harvard-wide Graduate Council. In these roles, she has helped to facilitate the signature Harvard Leadership Conference and worked in an advocacy capacity. I am very pleased to introduce Dr. Lakshmi Nayana Butakuru, our 2011 commencement student speaker.
On behalf of the class of 2011, I extend a warm welcome to Dean Frenk, Dr. Brundtland, honored guests, esteemed faculty and alumni, and wonderful family and friends. I'm humbled by the opportunity to speak here today. I take a moment to welcome my parents, who, like many others here, have traveled far and survived multiple in-flight meals in order to be here. I know that they're extremely happy and proud today, mostly because they can finally tell me to get a job. On my first day at the Harvard School of Public Health, I had a little trouble, not with understanding the intricacies of the American healthcare system or the complexities of economic theory. No, my trouble was with the revolving door. I got stuck. In the morning rush, I was like a deer in the headlights, too scared to jump in, too slow to move out of the way. Still, most of you have successfully negotiated that very door, and I can say that despite my skewing effect, we at the School of Public Health are pretty special, as evidenced by that pinnacle of all achievement. We have over 500 Facebook friends each. Yes, we're a group of smart and talented people. So how is it that when Professor Reich recently asked us what the definition of public health was, that he was met with a heavy silence? Well, come on, he persisted. What will you tell your grandmother when she asks you what you're doing here at Harvard? For the grandmothers in the crowd, never fear. I suspect that the silence was prompted by having too much rather than too little to say. You see, in this era, public health underpins almost every aspect of modern life and means vastly different things to each of us. So I won't attempt to sum this up in one definitional phrase. Instead, let me tell you what it means to me. A few years ago, I was a medical student working with remote Indigenous communities in Australia. There is one such community of about 200 people that I will never forget. This community had been plagued by a spate of suicides, several young people under the age of 18 over just a few months. I pondered the circumstances which had allowed this horrific situation to materialize. Poverty, substance abuse, historical injustice, community breakdown, all of which had meant the tragedy was far too regular a caller. What was even more devastating was the desperation that gripped this community as they worried not if, but when the next child would follow suit. At that moment, I understood what it was like to be held hostage by fear. So public health to me is about reimagining the society to one where education and opportunity are plentiful and where access to services is available to those who need it the most, but can ask for it the least. Yes, in this most scientific of fields, firmly rooted in epidemiology and biostatistics, the most salient feature to me is imagination, because that is always where transformation begins. Imagination is the ability to form images, sensations, and concepts in a moment when they are not otherwise perceivable through sight, hearing, or any of our other senses. Surely that moment is now, when governments, economies, and societies face crises and where solutions seem unattainable. So if you, like me, believe that health is a human right and not a privilege, and if you, like me, are incredulous that sexual health education is tied to ever-changing political agendas, and if you, like me, are sad that even with the wave of change that brought the first African-American president to office, that health disparities continue to plague minority populations, then this is the time to imagine a different reality. Because ultimately, imagination is the foundation from which this different reality will spring. As for me, I take time to reimagine the lost lives of those young people in the community that I'd worked in, and I envisage how their stories could have been very different. So I've concluded that the revolving door at the Harvard School of Public Health serves another purpose. In a sense, it represents circles, circles of knowledge, circles of friendship, and the fact that in our journey here today, we have just come full circle. Graduates, as we prepare to leave this formidable institution, I ask you to not forget why it is that you came here in the first place. And whatever it is that public health specifically means to you, remember the words of Henry David Thoreau: "This world is but a canvas to our imaginations." May your imagination give you the vision to create new realities in every corner of the globe and in every frontier of public health. Congratulations, class of 2011.
Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker and this year's recipient of the Julius B. Richmond Award, Dr. Gro Harlem Brundtland. Last evening, we honored 14 students, 8 faculty, and 2 staff members who were selected for special recognition. Today, we are presenting the Julius B. Richmond Award, the highest honor offered by the Harvard School of Public Health. Now, Gro Brundtland is no newcomer to Harvard Commencement Ceremonies. Since in 1992, she received an honorary doctorate from the university. We at the Harvard School of Public Health feel proud to follow in that path by having her today back at Harvard. Few people have had an impact on society as global as Gro Harlem Brundtland. As some of you may know, Gro's father, himself a physician, was a prominent member of Norway's Labour Party, who served as Minister of Social Affairs and of Defense. Politics was a frequent topic of conversation in her house growing up. Perhaps that is why Gro joined the Labour Party's children's organization at age 7. Talk about precocious. And this is how her political career began. As a young adult, Gro earned a medical degree at the University of Oslo, and then, as a young mother, received a scholarship to attend Harvard School of Public Health, where she obtained her Master's of Public Health in 1965. She already exhibited then a rare combination of intellectual passion for science, combined with a deep calling for service. Thus, our commencement speaker today has published a scientific paper in Nature. She was also active in student government, having served as the secretary of student government during her year here at HSPH. When she returned to Norway, she began truly a meteoric career, starting first working as in public health, to be named subsequently Minister of the Environment, and then in 1981, at the age of 41, she became the youngest person and the first woman to hold the office of Prime Minister in Norway. She led the Labour Party to electoral victory 3 times and served for more than 10 years as head of government. Among many progressive initiatives, Prime Minister Brundtland championed women's rights and equality. And then in the 1980s, she chaired the World Commission on the Environment and Development, better known as the Brundtland Commission. Its landmark report, Our Common Future, established the concept of sustainable development. Gro became Director General of the World Health Organization in 1998. Shortly before she decided to run for the WHO post, I met Gro here at HSPH when then Dean Harvey Feinberg invited both of us to participate in a celebration of the school's 75th anniversary. And so I have Harvey Feinberg and HSPH to thank for my long personal association with Gro. Shortly after the 75th anniversary, Gro won the election to serve as head of WHO. She sent Jonas Støre, who was leading her transition team and is now the Foreign Minister of Norway, to interview me for a potential position in her new administration. The result was a marvelous opportunity when Gro invited me to become Executive Director in charge of evidence and information for policy, and a member of her cabinet. I can honestly say that working with Gro was one of the most inspiring professional experiences I have ever had. Gro is a visionary leader, arriving at WHO when it had faced a leadership crisis. She inspired hope. She had a vision for the role of WHO that was to place health at the center of the global agenda. While at WHO, for example, it was her rapid response to the global threat of SARS that is largely credited with helping prevent the disease from becoming both a public health and an economic disaster worldwide. She also tackled complex problems ranging from malaria, AIDS, and TB to tobacco control, global poverty, and health systems performance. After serving at WHO, she said she was retiring, but nothing could be furthest from reality. She has become a very active, continued to be a most active presence on the global stage, serving in a multiplicity of noble causes, most especially the board of the UN Foundation, and also as a member of the Elders, probably the most outstanding group of global leaders on the stage today. And in this role, she continues to champion the best causes for humanity. It is, in fact, this amazing record of accomplishments that makes Gro such an appropriate commencement speaker and recipient of the Julius Richmond Award. Established in 1997, this award recognizes an individual or group who, like Dr. Richmond, have contributed to achieving the highest standards for public health, particularly in working with vulnerable populations. As Surgeon General, Dr. Richmond produced the definitive report on smoking and health, a report that changed US policies and policies worldwide. He set targets for the health of the American public with Healthy People 2000 and was the first national director of the Head Start program. Dr. Richmond died in 2008, but his legacy lives on each year when we honor an individual whose career exemplifies his values of protecting and empowering vulnerable populations. And so, it is my great honor to invite Gro to stand here and receive the Julius Richmond Award and invite her to give our 2011 commencement address.
Thank you very much. It's really joyful to see all of you in front of me and to realize the expansion of the school over the years since I was here. But first of all, as I stand before you today, I feel that years are disappearing. As I'm reliving over these days and now these minutes, so many crucial moments of my life. I remember fellow students and teachers, walks to and from the International House, as my knowledge, my understanding, and my maturation grew over that most significant and memorable year. This was a defining experience, both for me and for my husband. He was also here at Harvard at the Center for International Affairs. I feel anew a deep sense of history and culture, of having been blessed by such luck to be here. I was only in my 25th year and the youngest in my class. I knew I was privileged, and I tried to make the best out of these exceptional opportunities to prepare for a life so full of potential and challenge. Why was it that I turned out to be my country's first woman prime minister and the youngest person ever to serve my country in that capacity? This is a question I have been asked on a number of occasions, but I have chosen to give no answer. Today, I think I will try. Without my year here at this school, with its decisive influence on me, on my way of thinking, as well as the deep impressions upon me from my fellow students from across the world, my whole sense of self that it imprinted, I believe it would not have happened. So what was it in the first place that made me seek admission? My own family roots, my upbringing and background, my values, my ideals, my political convictions. all led me to look for how I could best be prepared to contribute and to make a difference. I held strong beliefs about human dignity and equality, about how we all need to strive for a better, healthier, and more just society. The strength of those values and convictions were reconfirmed and settled permanently through my learning all that I experienced during that year at Harvard School of Public Health. They clearly did not just apply to my own country. They had to be global, and they had to apply to all peoples and all societies. Once, many years later, in so-called question time in Parliament, I remember ending up after an intense and difficult exchange with an opposition leader by exclaiming, "Yes, all is indeed linked to everything else." At the time, nearly 20 years ago, this was immediately criticized, even ridiculed by some, for being simply evasive and unclear. Interestingly, today, it is often being quoted with great respect, even with admiration. Why do I choose to mention this and that episode? Because the seeds of it date back to my year at Harvard. I learned so much more about the links between humans and nature, our societies, cultures, and our environment. Ecology was a new word, and it was a new world to me, but it was in our curriculum. I learned to always look for the close and the near, as well as the far away, the small as well as the large, through a holistic lens. This holistic approach is public health at its best. It is preventive medicine at its core. It relates to our minds, as well as to our bodies, to the links between us as humans, to the communities and the societies we create, to our surroundings and the environment in which we live. Today, of course, it also relates to planet Earth itself, as humanity faces fundamental challenges in our relationship with nature. We need to sense and reflect, analyze and act based on a holistic approach, fully cognizant of how interdependent we all have become in our own societies and across the globe. So, forever linked together in my own mind, I realized how the key issues of development, economy and finance, environment, health, and education could all only be dealt with on the basis of shared values and concerns, on human rights for both women and men, and on dignity for all. This holistic way of thinking is also the only real basis for peace and security. Health itself tells perhaps the strongest story of globalization, and the need for shared values and action to promote safety and security across the world. My first 10 years of working life were spent in public service, in national and local public health, with analysis, policy formulation, and practice. I helped inspire and implement a campaign on regaining the previously high prevalence of breastfeeding in my country, and later as a political leader, and then as Director General of WHO, to inspire and promote it internationally. I had chosen breastfeeding, its health implications, its history, its prevalence across the world, as my main paper during my year at Harvard. It became one of the many issues I have been pursuing in my different roles and capacities ever since. I also gained new experience through my own research on child development and could benefit from the discipline of research methodology, as well as the training in statistics and epidemiology here at the school. As I was asked to enter the government at the age of 35, it came as a complete surprise to me. I had no such plans or ambitions, although it is obvious that my whole perspective was already a broad societal and even global one, based on my values, choices, and my experiences in life. I mention this to illustrate that in our lives, we will be confronted with new challenges and choices. At such key crossroads in life, what really counts is to find out, can I do it? Do I have something I can contribute? The fact that the challenge was to become Minister of Environment, not Minister of Health and Social Affairs, added an additional dimension. I was engaging in using all that I had experienced so far from the medical profession and from public health, policy and research into the area of environment. My new role definitely gave me a greatly increased opportunity to influence policies and trends, not only in my own country, but also within Europe and in the global perspective. Now, instead of being fearful of a new area that I now needed to delve into, I quickly was relieved to find that the knowledge and principles already gained from my studies and my working life were indeed perfectly relevant to the environment. They even added a new dimension to the Ministry of Environment, as the global burden of environmental degradation and unsustainable patterns of development became of great concern to me and others. I took that with me for the future, and also a deeper realization of the fact that we need much more professionals, analysts, decision makers, and political leaders with knowledge and experience that cross traditional borders, both across academic disciplines, different professions, and sectors of society. How can we learn to focus on a holistic approach without a larger number of people trained and experienced in exactly looking at issues through such a lens? Maybe these broad perspectives in my own thinking and attitudes contributed to the fact that already half a year after my sudden introduction onto the political arena, I found myself elected to become deputy leader of my party, and only 6 years later as Prime Minister of Norway and party leader. Now, these new events certainly increased my potential influence on policies, on initiatives, even further. An opportunity I soon realized I must both use and I must cherish. In 1983 came the call from the United Nations to lead an important international commission to address the major global challenges we were then facing and regretfully still are facing. Environmental and developmental patterns that rapidly are reaching or even overstepping the planetary boundaries. The Secretary General, I was opposition leader. I was in the middle of Norwegian political scene. And I said, you know, I don't think I can do this. And he said, don't forget, you are the only environment minister to have become prime minister. And I realized that I had to take the challenge. Our analysis by the unprecedented commission that I put together, while insisting that a majority of the members had to come from the developing world, I believe has stood the test of time. It's nearly 25 years ago now we delivered our report. It was based on extensive consultation and networks with NGOs, governments, industry, and the scientific community. So in fact, nearly a quarter century later, our common future that was launched in London in 1987, the key recommendations there and those messages are still those that the world needs to pursue. So, you know, we haven't been moving too quickly. Today, as I serve on the high-level panel on global sustainability that is called together by the present UN Secretary General, I'm again in the business of addressing the whole, connecting the dots, trying to bring together a consistent and convincing message to world leaders and to the public. The challenge of the panel is to report by the end of this year for Rio +20 on the defining and crucial aspects of sustainable development, the concept coined by my commission back in 1987, 5 years before Rio. Now, from my parents, from my father, not least, a doctor, as Julio said, a rehabilitation expert and a politician, I had in me the conviction and discipline that you need to know before you conclude. It's simple, but it's not always done. You need to seek knowledge and evidence to secure the necessary basis for pointing direction and taking decisions. This attitude was reinforced here at Harvard School of Public Health. I will never forget one of my teachers, Miss Jane Worcester, our main teacher in medical statistics and epidemiology. Through her teaching, I was uplifted and inspired in a part of our curriculum that I have to admit many of my fellow students dreaded as both boring and difficult. For me, instead, it became my favorite. The conviction to always put great emphasis on science and evidence in pursuit of the best policies and actions to take, I have brought with me as a key message ever since. I met your dean, our dean, Julio Frenk, on April 27, 1997, as I gave a keynote speech here at the school at the celebration of the 75th anniversary. My return to my alma mater and my contact with Julio undoubtedly inspired my work in the months leading up to the selection by the Executive Board of the World Health Organization and, again, the Health Assembly to elect me to become Director General. And that happened in May 1998. And as you heard, I asked Julio to join my leadership team as Executive Director in charge of one of my key priorities, evidence and information for policy. That was necessary. WHO had to be the center of excellence based on evidence and information. The plan and platform for my taking over at the helm was one of renewal, an improved evidence base, building of alliances for action at global level, and most of all, to place health at the top of the political agenda. I knew we needed to reach the minds of finance ministers and prime ministers, not just the poor health ministers. They must become health ministers themselves, responsible as the prime minister and finance minister are for comprehensive and holistic view inside and outside their own countries. And so must foreign ministers. As you have probably heard from the Norwegian foreign minister, some of you, who led my preparatory team into WHO, who visited here last year, and from Julio himself, health is part of foreign policy. My credo is this: build on and strengthen the evidence, share the evidence, and act upon the evidence. This is the only workable and realistic basis for relevant and effective action, given that we are obliged to pursue common responsibilities in a closely connected and interdependent world. This is what happened in the tobacco campaign and the success of a global convention only after 5 years. The first ever public health convention. It was agreed at the World Health Assembly in 2003, only 5 years after I made a strong call in the Health Assembly of 1998, saying in my acceptance speech, tobacco should never be advertised, subsidized, or glamorized. It is what happened when SARS was identified, named, abated, and struck down after its early and dramatic spread that very same spring. It is what happened with our initiative to call together the Commission on Macroeconomics and Health, led by Jeffrey Sachs, which clearly demonstrated that health is an investment, also in the economy. It is what happened when Julio Frenk and Chris Murray moved forcefully into measuring health systems' performance, a key to promote evidence-based policies. This was an effort that was met with opposition, sometimes passionate discussions, partly since it was seen by some to be threatening to the traditional ownership of health data by each nation. In all of these examples, we were strengthening WHO, still choosing to move the agenda forward, even against considerable opposition, when pursuing change and innovation that always happens. It is a critical component of leadership itself. It illustrates, I also need to confirm a key observation, determination, sometimes even courage, should not be underestimated, nor should experience from having had political responsibilities in government. Without it, the evidence base alone would not have been enough to achieve the breakthroughs to reach our key goals. So years of gaining experience on how to take action and to get results as Minister of Environment and as Prime Minister had convinced me of moving ahead based on evidence, on programs and policies that could be tested, measuring results and performance. So let me say this, my concluding remarks. Great visions and speeches are not in the end what really counts most. Vision without a plan without action, is not much to admire. This illustrates, I believe, one reason your dean has chosen to focus on leadership. So what am I spending my time on today, 8 years after my time in WHO? Climate, sustainable development, global alliances on health, human rights, women's reproductive rights, nuclear disarmament, and non-proliferation, to mention some key ones. The only concrete obligation I took, already in 2003, was to join the board of the United Nations Foundation. I had been deeply impressed by Ted Turner. You remember Ted Turner and CNN? And his amazing and exceptionally generous gift to the United Nations back in 1997. $1 billion across the table in New York. In WHO, we then worked with the United Nations Foundation as it started its ambitious agenda to promote the efficiency of UN institutions and in the building of alliances also with major private sector players to better harness our combined ability in getting results. So Bill and Melinda Gates and other key players in global health that you know today were undoubtedly inspired by the wonderful example of Ted Turner. Without Gates, Our innovative approach and the establishment of Gavi, a success story in public health, would not have been possible. Nor would we have had the inspiration, I think, and the strength to create the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And finally, just a word on the elders. I'm 72, so I'm certainly an elder, but this is a specific notion of the elders. It is called together by Nelson Mandela, 10 of us, led by Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop and Nobel Peace Prize laureate. It is taking up more and more of my time today. We are a small group of leaders, 10 people that I have admired and worked with previously in life. And of course, to be called to service by Nelson Mandela, a hero for all of us, there was no question in anyone's mind but to serve. Mandela wanted us, and I quote him, to offer our collective influence and experience to support peace building, help address major causes of human suffering, and promote the shared interest of humanity. He gave us the calling. This group can speak freely and boldly, working both publicly and behind the scenes. Together they will support courage where there is fear, foster agreement where there is conflict, and inspire hope where there is despair. End of quote. It was indeed a high calling to be given. But it is one that humbles us all, one that combines the values and the inspiration for true global leadership. I thank you all.
Thank you, Gro. In addition to honoring you today with the Julius Richmond Award, I am delighted to make a very special announcement. Just a little while ago, in my welcome remarks, I spoke about the importance of leadership development. I am pleased to announce that a new initiative, the Senior Leadership Fellows, has been established within the Division of Policy Translation and Leadership Development at Harvard School of Public Health. The first 4 international Senior Leadership Fellows will be named in your honor and called the Gro Harlem Brundtland Senior Leadership Fellows. These first 4 fellows, who will come to the school over 2 years, have been funded by the government of Norway through the Norwegian Knowledge Center for the Health Services and will be selected from low and middle income countries with a priority from someone from Africa to fill at least one of the fellowships. It is very fitting that these fellows will be named in your honor in recognition to your contributions to global health. The Senior Leadership Fellows are men and women who have recently served in high-level positions in government, nonprofit organizations, or multilateral agencies. They will spend a semester in residence at the Harvard School of Public Health, teaching and sharing their decision-making experiences with students, while also collaborating with renowned academic colleagues. The first fellow is expected to be in residence at our school in the spring of 2012. I can think of no better way, Gro, to honor your work and contributions globally. Let me now turn to the introduction of our alumni speaker. Dr. Elspeth Kalendarian, today's alumni speaker and president-elect of the Harvard School of Public Health Alumni Association, is an oral surgeon by training who received her master's degree from our Harvard School of Public Health. Elspeth has been an executive with extensive experience in the healthcare, human services, and public health fields. She now serves as Assistant Dean for Clinical Affairs at the Harvard School of Dental Medicine, where she is responsible for the overall management of the dental practices and facilitates bridging basic and translational research with clinical research in patient care delivery. Elspeth is also an assistant professor in oral health policy and epidemiology at the dental school and chair of that department. She's currently involved in research focused on dental diagnostic terminology in the electronic health record funded through an NIH grant. She received an American Dental Association Award for educational research. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Elspeth Kalendarian to give the alumni greetings.
Thank you. Dear faculty, friends, graduates, fellow alumni, honored guests, it's wonderful being here today. It's been a long time since I've been back at graduation. I did not attend my own graduation, so this is finally like coming home. It is a pleasure bringing you greetings from the Alumni Council today. As the school website indicates, the school traces its roots back to public health activism at the turn of the last century, which was a time of energetic social reform. And I would argue that now, just as then, should be a time for activism. I would like to urge all of you to consider yourself first and foremost public health ambassadors. I know that Dean Franks told you to be public health professionals, but I really urge you to be public health ambassadors. When you leave here to start your careers or to continue your careers as doctors, dentists, epidemiologists, academicians, some of you will be even consultants and other professions. And why do I ask you that? Let me give you two examples that are very near and dear to my heart. Coronary heart disease is the single leading cause of death in America today, claiming 1 in almost every 3 deaths. More than 81 million Americans are estimated to have some form of cardiovascular disease, with more than 73 million Americans having high blood pressure, and those are just staggering numbers. Additionally, cardiovascular disease is also the leading non-communicable disease in developing countries and projected to increase by at least 15% globally between 2010 and 2020. The risk of dying of a heart attack is directly linked to high blood pressure. And of those people who have high blood pressure, about 3/4 know it, which means about 1/4 doesn't know it, which would be not a very good failure rate if your beeper didn't go off in about 1/4% of the time, of the time that it beeps. And so that's where we come in as public health ambassadors. The cause of high blood pressure is in 90% about unknown, but it's really easy to detect it and very often very, very curable. So in my opinion, as a public health ambassador and as a dentist, it is unthinkable that we as dentists do not take a blood pressure every time we see a patient. And when the reading is abnormal, just refer the patient to the primary care physician with a standardized script. On the flip side, caries is still the #1 childhood disease, which is also, I think, pretty unthinkable. Mainly because access to dental care for children still remains a real barrier to fighting this disease. So I would urge the physicians and the nurses in this room to help us fight that childhood disease by being a public health ambassador and to learn the very simple preventive tasks of applying fluoride and sealants, which a task, by the way, that can be delegated to your auxiliary staff. The mouth really is not just for the dentist. So I urge all of you new graduates to truly consider yourself public health ambassadors and find ways to continuously bring important preventive health messages and actions to your patients and clients if you're gonna be this consultant. As you will soon find out, and maybe you already have experienced it, we tend to get focused and work within our job responsibilities, kind of our little zone of comfort, forgetting how easy and how far-reaching it can be when we act outside of the boundaries of our roles and act as public health ambassadors. I'd like to congratulate all of you. The more than 90,000 Harvard School of Public Health alumni welcome you among their midst. I wish you all the best as public health ambassadors.
Thank you, Elspeth, for your welcome to our new graduates, and also congratulations on your election as President-elect of the Alumni Council. The Harvard School of Public Health Student Awards honor outstanding students, generally through a selective nomination and committee deliberation process. This year we recognized 14 students. I'll announce each of their awards and their names and ask them to stand in place and be recognized. I'm pleased to announce the following student awards. The Albert Schweitzer Award to Robert Hughes. The Dr. Fang Xing Sun Memorial Award to Gregory Peter Keen. The Edgar Haber Award in Biologic Sciences to Shannon Marie Riley. The Gareth M. Green Award for Excellence in Public Health Practice to Michael Bryant Hadley, Thomas Anthony McHale, and Dana Renee Thompson. The James H. Ware Award for Achievement in the Practice of Public Health to Bert Kovig. The Robert B. Reed Prize for Excellence in Biostatistical Science to Shira Mitchell. The Student Recognition Awards to Erica Teresa Warner and Alyssa Weiss. And the Teaching Assistant Awards to Cindy Leung, Peter Lipman, Jesse Ortendahl, and Anna Snavely. The Harvard School of Public Health Teaching and Mentoring Awards are based on student feedback through course evaluation questions that focus on quality of teaching and effectiveness in class for the Teaching Awards and through student nominations and committee vote for the Mentoring Award. This year we recognize 8 faculty members. I'll announce each of the awards and names and ask them to stand in place and be recognized. I'm pleased to announce the following faculty awards. The Roger L. Nichols Excellence in Teaching Award to S. Bryn Austin, Associate Professor in the Department of Society, Human Development, and Health. And 3 teaching citations to David Harrington, Professor of Biostatistics. Matthew Miller, Associate Professor of Health Policy and Management. And Meredith B. Rosenthal, Professor of Health Economics and Policy. And 4 mentoring awards to Marcia Castro, Assistant Professor of Demography. Miguel Hernan, Professor of Epidemiology. Chihao Li, Associate Professor of Genetics and Complex Diseases. And Murray Middleman, Associate Professor in the Department of Epidemiology. The Harvard School of Public Health Staff Recognition Award was created this year by the student government to ensure that members of the HSPH community who are neither faculty nor students are acknowledged for their great efforts to help students at the school. Specifically, staff members who make a significant impact on the lives of students at the Harvard School of Public Health. This award is intended to acknowledge the importance of non-classroom and mentoring activities on the lives of students. And this year we recognize 2 staff members, Helena Tillotson-Folweiler, Manager of Academic Services, and Cecil Haverkamp, Program Associate and Coordinator of Strategic Partnerships and Global Health Practice. Now, each department chair or representative will read the names of doctoral graduates while the chair of the Committee on Admissions and Degrees, Professor Meredith Rosenthal, hoods the candidates.
I am honored today to present the doctoral degree recipients in the Division of Biological Sciences, Amy Kristen Bay. Bradley Ian Coleman. Christian Carl Dibble.
I am honored today to acknowledge the recipients of the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the Department of Biostatistics, Elaine Emiko Izu. Farzad Dagahi Newberry. Shannon Rose Nelson Stock.
I'm very proud, representing the faculty of the Department of Environmental Health, to present the recipients of the Doctor of Science Awards in Environmental Health. Kofi Osomani. Emmanuel Saporna Baha. Xing Chen. Timothy Haddon Czyzelski. Hanin Shabrel Esteban. Karen L. Hopsia. Seong Suk Kim. Rebecca Ann Lincoln. Hortensia Moreno Macias. Megan E. McCullough. Justin D. Mee. Marissa Joanna Oge. Vasilius Papapostolo. Jin Chin. Christopher James Runk. Jose? No. Ramon Alberto Sanchez Pina. Leonard Manning Schwack. And receiving the doctorate in Environmental Health and Health Policy and Management, May S. Akasha.
On behalf of the faculty of the Department of Epidemiology, it is my honor to present the future of our field, the doctoral degrees recipients in the Department of Epidemiology. For the Doctor of Public Health, Jacqueline Suk Danik. Zona Rivas. For the Doctor of Science, Sybil Ashioglu. Megan Ann Baker. Andrea K. Shomastek. Meredith Carolyn Foster. Meredith Paige Harrington. Holly Ruth Harris. Kosuke Kawai. Martine Lauju Loiza. Sarah Tamar Cabelli Orenstein. Jacob Sattlemeyer. Irene Shui. Janet P. Tate. Allison Colleen C. Erica Teresa Warner. Kathleen Elizabeth Worth. Jamie Madrigano.
I'm honored to present the doctoral degree recipients in the Department of Global Health and Population. Yang Ting Chen. Farshad Farzadfar. Anna Hurd. Shufang Zhang.
I'm honored to present the doctoral degree recipient in the Department of Health Policy and Management, Shan Wu Liu.
Great. I'm honored to present the doctoral degree recipients in the Department of Nutrition, Russell Jude D'Souza. Congratulations. Julia Lee Finkelstein. Carlos Olimpo Mendeville Anaya. Todd Jermaine Reed. Congratulations. Nicole Marie Weddick. And in addition, recipients of the doctoral degrees in epidemiology and nutrition, Sheila Isanaka. Fariba Mirzai. Congratulations. Erin Lynn Richmond. Congratulations.
I'm honored to present the doctoral degree recipients of the Department of Society, Human Development and Health. Allison Alden Appleton. Dustin Troy Duncan. Jesse Richardson Hood. Emily Zobel Contas. Candace Claire Nelson. Adebola Odunlami Tafawa. Megan Elizabeth Wu.
Let's have a warm round of applause for all of our doctoral degree recipients. And now Stan Hudson, Associate Dean for Student Services, will present the Master of Science and Masters of Public Health degree recipients.
For the Master of Arts in Biostatistics, Kate Janae Fisher. Travis Allen Gerke. Jarapon Fa Sarithapong Sasuti. Masters of Science in Biostatistics, Robert Peter Chang. Sung Un Choi. Catherine Colley Fitzgerald. Paula Esther Mariaga Serrano. Chia Wang. In environmental health, Nancy Dow. Jocelyn Danielle Hospital. Stephen Archie Lewandowski. Shahir Fuad Mosri. Emily Helen Sparrow. Ching Wei Sun. In epidemiology, Catherine Diane Almendinger. Scott Ryan Bauer. Alexandra Margaret Lynn Binder. Marissa Beth Bleeden. Kasarina Bykoff. Brittany Michelle Charlton. Daniela Soledad Colasi. Heinz Gunther Edmund Endres. Katie May Fellows. Cheryl Gordon. Rebecca Harusek. Benjamin Kevin Inoue Helfand. Anders Whitfeldt. Monica A. Izano. Wei Shong Ko. Alan Koichi Koyama. Yi Che Yun. Juan Chi Lee. Shisa Matsumoto. Fan Mu. Dan Nayot. Fada Oliver Otite. Gregory Piazza. Kenneth Gregory Pugh. David Masambe Sando. Mirella V. Simon. Jennifer Jacqueline Stewart. Catherine Marie Taylor. Heike Brunhild Vesching. Fennen Brenneman Wiesa. Wang Zhang. Mohammed Yawar Yaqub. Joe Zhou. In Global Health and Population, Stephen Mark Amrock. Deborah Michelle Barter. Khalida Adoronke Bello. Pampa De Broy. Yvette Ulichier Efebevra. Mike Watson Frick. Julia Rebecca Goldberg. Michael Bryant Hadley. Mara Catherine Hansen. Tomoko Harigaya. Lama Hasun. Laura Nolan Khan. Felix Lam. Shane Yen. Ryan McBain. Thomas Anthony McHale. Adrian Howes Nickerson. Daniel O'Farrell. Deepa Vijay Panchang. Mohammed Tavakoli. Dana Renee Thompson. April Elizabeth Warren. In Healthcare Management, Brian John Doran. Matthew John Hodge. Tasneem Omar Khan. Trishna Kargi. Christina Denise Nelson. Lucy Opartani. Elke Platz. Alan Bowman Rep. The second. Harry Charles Sachs. Wei Ru Xiao. Sadia Sherwani. Louis Donald Snyder. Michael Francis Ward. Michael Ray Williams. Walid Khaled Yasser. Eyal Zimmerman. In Health Policy and Management, Emily Claire Anderson. Anthony David Carpenter. Marie Alicia Castelli. April Lynn Duddy. Victoria Elizabeth Fancher. Matthew Garrett Field. Catherine Oris Hammonds. Carolyn E. Holmes. Laura Margaret Keohane. Joy Lee He Lee. Allison Beth Liebhaber. Lulu. Sophie Kane Miller. Meredith Julia Roberts Tomasi. Amy Sapora Rothkopf. Alethea Abbas Shambora. Jacqueline Jeanette Snow. Lisa Marie Trebino. Louise Lindner Weed. Alicia Tarunga Widge. in Society, Human Development, and Health. Kafui Ajay Bewanglio. Sachini Namalka Bandara. Colleen Marie Dobson. Vinu Thevane Ilakavan. Elizabeth Francis Janiak. Carleen Karalijan. Mara Beth Lederman. Kristen Nicole Lessel. Kristen Eileen Michalowski. Jennifer Ann O'Donnell. Lisa Nicole Peterson. Mary Teresa Quilty. Arthi Ravichandran. Elizabeth Christie Rhodes. Lindsay Overholt Schubiner. Alyssa Weiss. Rain Yamamoto. Jamie Zweibel. For the Masters of Public Health, Toshikazu Abe. Anshu Abhat. Barham K. Abu Deye. Akim Olabanji Adebogun. Olumyuyiwa Toluwalase Adebona. Israel Terungwa Agaku. Stephen Olefigan Ogobodwa. Emikal Pascal Agudirige. John Agazarian. Ryan Morel Ahern. Ayobami Tolulope Akenroye. Sweta Aladi. Adrian Suzanne Allen. Matthew Harry Richards Anstey. Vanessa Apea. Kevin Lee Ard. Dustin Clayton Baker. Andrea Balabene. William Bean. Sarah Foreman Blumenthal. Jennifer Jean Bainey. Joji Chikie Borges. Lori Ann Barassa. Naima Diane Bridges. Eleanor Burton. Arthur Roland Celestin. Juvisa Chada. Timothy Xies Yuan Chong. David Stephen Chow. Mark Allen Clapp. Otavio Rizi Coelho Filho. Danielle Bernice Cohen. Stephanie Collier. Ilana Marianne Kramer. Thomas Kofi Mensa Kudjoe. Michelle Lynn Custo. Catherine Dahl. Peregrine James Dalziel. Showman Das De. Ravi Dingra. Sarah Dilly. Emily Ruth Dodwell. Jennifer K. Drehas. Sarah Morrison Dreiling. Janet Patricia Edwards. Jennifer Allison Earhart. Ahize Chukwu Chikoziem Eke. Nora Magdi El Nawari. Akita Carrie Evans. Olatokunbo Musili Famokinwa. Olumide Ayodeji Faniuan. Adam Michael Finkelstein. Mary Elizabeth Fleming. Nathan Aubrey Fleming. Marshall Florent. Mark Patrick Foran. Amanda Arlene Fox. Megan Teresa Fry. Stephen Paul Guildfind. William Brian Gormley. Bert Govig. Akshay Govind. Jim Ping Yen Gu. Hannah Gimarayesh. Jason Fernando Hall. Nidhi Hans. Bernard Anton Haring. Elizabeth Borges Harstad. Daniel Edward Henderson. Antonia Jocelyn Henry. Adeline Lindsay Ho. Tai Wei Ho. Subhada Huli. Robert Hughes. Sabina Hunziker. Hei Jin In. John Paul Jacobson. Jennifer Leaf Yeager. Stuti Jebaraj. Suchada Giamsiri. James Cameron Johnston. Marianne Jurassic. Fatima Wali Kaka. Shodi Kalantarian. Gregory Peter Keen. Chul Kim. Thomas Allen Lage. Ingrid Lara Lemley Roof. Arta Lahiji. Xian Che Li. Wing Yan Li. Julie H. Levison. Sabra Christina Luzi. Annie Lee. Allison Frances Linden. Cheng Ling. Richard Liu. Jennifer Ann McGee. William F. Mann. Simon Mantha. Victoria Manueli. Ariane Morelli. Priharum Marlena. Donald Suter Alexander McLeod. Joel Clinton Miller. Paige Elizabeth Miller. Daniel Mirsky. Yanan Mo. Melita Mohammed Moazum Ali. Stephen Craig Morris. Alpha Mohihi. Janet Elaine Murphy. Kimberly Danae Luli Narayan. Jacinda Mawson Nicholas. Leticia Maciel Noguera. Eni Homo Mary Obadan. Michael Opoyemi Olublile. Moshud Olorewaju Omatayo. Afua Oswa Acheng Omwako. Joni Paul. Florentine Ursula Lucienne Pepin. Satish Krishna Pillai. A. Susanna Ramirez. Ravina Rampal. Jesse Michael Rideout. Monica Rivera Bueno. Joshua Isaac Rothschild. Sangita Suresh Sakria. Viral Mukund Saraya. Mark Anthony Shembri. Jessica Schiffman. Philip Schutz. Cindy Lee Schwartz. Carrie Alexandra Schwartz. Jamil Bennett Scott. Sha'un Davina Shia. Francis Sarafusa Sekide. Brittany Ann Seymour. Tina Rashmi Shah. Mars Sirajuddin Sheikh. Surendra Sharma. Mark George Schreim. Hugh Silk. Manpreet Singh. Jan Krzysztof Stupian. Brian Payne Stanifer. Catherine Moran Sullivan. Alexander Mark Supadi. May Chen T. Ali Manning Thomas. Trygve Thorgson. Crystal Lynn Tomei. Sebastian Tong. Christopher Andrew Tronovich. Ashanta Rachel Tumblin. Onyinyechi Ihuoma Ukwoma. Peter Elo Umunkoro. Stacy Lynn Valentine. Samuel K. Vandervelde. Gladys Marielle Varela. Sylvan Manuel Vasenbeck. Venkatation Daninesh Vidi. Lakshmi Nayana Vutakura. Wan Heng Wang. Joanne Marie Watson. Karen Fiona Waters. Erina Moe White. Lydia Helen Wolosik. Camila Natis Wood. Kevin E. Woods. Vikas Yadav. Sean Yang. Wei Un Yup. Alexander Tin Han Yu. Peter Zariba. Paulina Maria Jelinska. Enel Momina Zubair. Ladies and gentlemen, the HSPH class of 2011, congratulations.
Congratulations. You've all received a copy of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and you are entrusted to live up to what is written there. We'll bring our proceedings to a close, but let me just share a few final reflections with you. As I approach the emblematic mark of 1,000 days as dean, I continue to marvel at the vibrant energy of our institution as we are just witnessing. Every one of those days has been enriched by my interactions with faculty, staff, alumni, and students. You, in particular, infuse me with a sense of renewal and possibility. That is what makes our school such an amazing place. You get on the elevator and find yourself standing next to a student who has returned from working with Senegalese scientists on malaria transmission and happens to have mastered the local language of Wolof in the process so that he can be more effective in her work. She can be more effective in her work. You walk down the hall and encounter a physician scientist from Korea who is assessing how precarious employment affects the health of his fellow countrymen. Another student describes how she's forging a relationship with the Boston Public Schools to help develop practical, comprehensive, and culturally sensitive health education programs on topics ranging from healthy eating to violence prevention to sexual health. Another mentions that she is working to track the recent cholera outbreak in Haiti. As you head across campus, you hear about a group of HSPH students who has raised over $20,000 in seed funds so they and fellow students from several other schools across the university can travel to a secluded area in the middle of Africa. Their goal? To design a hospital and a health system for residents of that area, many of whom are former child soldiers. The residents have high levels of gender violence, miserable reproductive and child health conditions, and a desire to work side by side with our students to improve their lives. Harvard School of Public Health is indeed an amazing place, filled with outstanding students, faculty, and staff doing unbelievably important work. Your drive, your enthusiasm, your curiosity cannot be duplicated anywhere else. Before you leave, consider what the most important moments have been for you at HSPH. Alongside your formal educational experiences with your talented professors, each of you has inspired and has been inspired by your fellow classmates. You have helped each other learn and develop as future leaders. You may have shared ideas with a future Prime Minister like Rob Brundtland. Just imagine the number of people you and your classmates will help in the years ahead. The thousands and millions of people whose health you will preserve and improve by your work. The impact that each of you will have on the public's health in the years ahead will be a shared success. Because I have no doubt each of you has helped others of your classmates to become more inspired teachers, more effective researchers, more enlightened policymakers, more devoted practitioners of public health, more compassionate human beings. As you leave this graduation ceremony today, there is a tendency to think that perhaps your education is now over, at least for a while. You have given your all and mastered what you came here to master. But nothing could be further from the truth. Learning and developing your skills as leaders are lifelong pursuits. We hope that you will return here whenever you need advice, consultation, and fellowship. Become active in your alumni association. Sign up for our leadership programs and courses through our continuing education department. Stay in touch with those who have inspired you. Even keep in touch on Facebook and LinkedIn. The reason they call this ceremony commencement is because it signals the start of something new. You are about to head out on an exciting journey, the quest for your true calling. And so I leave you with this thought from the great Mark Twain, who once wrote, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Good luck, safe travels, and congratulations.